Not the perfect start for Spurs to the season. This is The Social here on talkSPORT 2 with me, Olly Clink, alongside Flav Bateman, Spurs fan famously, of course. And I mean, there was life certainly in one old fox, Jamie Vardy, not just scoring, but also winding everyone up, which as a neutral, I thoroughly enjoyed. I'm sure you didn't, but I loved it. Was there any part of you who enjoyed it? Honestly,
I enjoyed it. It's the wrong word, but I respect it for sure. Like he's earned the right by winning the Premier League to give it some.
Yeah.
There is this. I genuinely think there's this sort of disdain for each other, Leicester and Spurs, that will just never go away.
Is that because of that title race?
Yeah,
well,
completely.
I mean, eventually it wasn't a race at all.
On talkSPORT on Saturday, it was on with Mark Albright and was talking to him about this. And they said there was this moment when Spurs were playing Bournemouth and we went 2-0 up really quickly. And the whole crowd was singing, "Leicester City, we're coming for you." And they took exception with that. And Mark Albright said, he goes, "We heard that," and we was like, "Who do they think they are?
Really?
We are absolutely not losing another game." So I've said this before, but if anyone's to blame for Leicester City winning the league, it's the Spurs fans for singing that song.
Yeah, and you came third in that title race.
Yeah, we did.
Didn't you? Yeah. Losing 5-1 on the final day to
Newcastle
United. That was it. Who'd already been relegated. That's it, isn't it? Incredible.
That's your club relegated, by the
way. I know. It just adds to how funny it is.
Mate, I can't tell you how desperately sad that day was for me. That was the first time we were going to finish above Arsenal in like 15, 20 years. And against a relegated team, all we had to do was win.
And they had 10 men for most of the game as well, Newcastle.
Mate, I remember.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Crushed.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting, though. I didn't know there was still that little bit of edge.
Definitely.
But we definitely saw it, didn't we, on Monday night. What did you make of Tottenham's performance as a whole in that game? Were there enough positives for you to feel that actually everything's going to be fine, you're still going to be pushing for top four?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because arguably it's one of those results that if it was in the middle of the season, as a fan, you probably would have looked at and gone, that's annoying.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. But because it's the first game, and does it feel a bit different?
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to the reporting there, and you're like, Leicester must have absolutely bossed that second half. They had 15 minutes. Let's not get him twisted. They had 15 minutes. The large part of that game was completely dominated by Tottenham. The only reason we didn't run away winners was because of the decision making in the final third and in front of the goal. Like, Postecoglou can only do so much in as getting the ball into positions so that strikers can score, forwards can score. The machinations that are put in place in order to create opportunity. That is Postecoglou's job. It's the job of the striker to put it in the net. And we did. It was absolutely fine. It was just we didn't put it away, and another game we will. And there was the Spurs stunted. We battered them for 56 minutes. We should have been goal. A couple of goals to the good. So no problems. No, you shouldn't be losing your head at this stage. It's one game.
Yeah, of course. But talking of putting the ball in the net. How would you rate his Solanke's debut?
Yeah,
Dominic Solanke's debut. Bought him for 65 million. Of course, we're going to need a few games in order to properly judge him in a Spurs shirt. But just based off that first game, how did you think he played out of 10?
I think there's a couple, just probably a 7 out of 10, maybe 6.
The link-up play was pretty good.
Yeah, so
did well with Maddison, I thought.
Exactly. Yeah,
but there were a few chances that he could have put away.
So you maybe question his decision making for the first one. If people haven't seen the game, a ball came over and he decided to go with his head, which meant he had to be low to the ground. It's almost like a diving header. It was the wrong decision, but it's split seconds and he'd made that decision, and so be it. He had another header that went straight to the keeper but got it on target, and there was a shot straight at the keeper in the second half after good interplay. Tottenham's massive. The main issue with Tottenham's attack last year was we were unable to get through a low block. We tried the intricate passes into the box, and it was just people just knew how to.
Maddison's form dropped a lot as well, didn't it?
When teams sussed out what we were trying to do, his game became.
But actually, I thought against Leicester he looked a lot sharper.
We had Solanke to play off.
Yes,
you've got a focal point for your attack. It's not Heung-min Son and it's not Richarlison. Both, Richarlison isn't your archetypal number 9, and certainly in this system. Solanke's better suited. He just had someone to play off. Someone who's going to get the ball and not lose it, hold it up, bring other players in. That was something missing. So Postecoglou was only going to play one way, right? There might be variations in the way we play, and he may tweak things, but the system is pretty much set. And it requires a certain profile of player in order for it to be effective. And we didn't have that last year. Solanke's going to be so much more than scoring goals. He's going to be bringing other players in, and that bet we mentioned earlier, 14-1 to score in every game. That's long. Those are good odds. So I'm definitely going to pick up that 14-1. I think it was since there was a game last year where we didn't score. Did we score against you?
Was it Newcastle United?
Was that 4-0?
Yeah, they lost 4-0 at St James's Park.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think that's the game they didn't score in.
Before that, we're on a 56-game running streak. Thanks for that. But I'm just trying to make a point here that those
56 games.
Yeah.
Would that include the game they lost 6-1 at St James's Park the season before?
Yeah,
they scored in that one. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. That was when Conte and Stellini and all that mess at the football club. That game, by the way, that 6-1 game, I was like, because I was with my old man. I watched a lot of games with my old man, and I was like, I don't feel good about this one because Newcastle were riding high. You were in place. You knew what you're doing, and we had no idea. We saw the lineup, Perisic at left back, and you're like, oh no, this is going to be bad. But it also we got to the point where it's going to be bad. I didn't feel anything anymore.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to that place as a football fan?
Absolutely.
You've been hurt so much that you no longer feel anything. That's the place you want to be.
The whole Ashley era. As a Newcastle fan.
Yeah, so when the fourth goal went in, nothing.
Just nothing.
No feeling at all.
Yeah.
And then the week later, we went up to Anfield. We were 3 down within 15 minutes again. And it's brilliant because you just didn't feel anything. It was great.
Yeah, and that ended amazingly as well, didn't it? Richarlison scored the equaliser late on, and then
you seem to know a lot about our failings.
It just makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh. But just going back to Solanke quickly.
Yeah.
Because I think we both agree that all right, not the perfect debut, would have been perfect if he'd managed to get a goal. But I think those goals will come. The chances were being created, which, like you said, actually last season for Spurs wasn't happening, especially by the end of the season, as well as they'd have liked it to.
Yeah.
What do you think would be a good return this season for Solanke in terms of goals, given that he scored 19 last season for Bournemouth?
Yeah, I think around that figure would be fine. Anything between 15 and 20. If he's adding sort of 10 assists as well, anything like 25 goal contributions, either through assists or direct goals, is fine. That would be absolutely fine. If goals are coming from other areas of the squad, it doesn't matter how they're going in. If he's involved in the build-up, that's contribution. So I wouldn't get too caught up in exactly how many goals he scored. Is how effective are we going to be building up, and what was his role in that? So it's going to be more of a sort of general sort of nebulous. I was going to make up a word then.
No, go on. No, do it. Do a Simon Jordan.
So I was trying to go up from nebulous, but nebulatic.
Nebulatic. I like that.
I feel like it works.
Who's he play for?
Does that work? A nebulatic approach to scoring
goals. It really was a nebulatic approach, wasn't it?
I think I've made up a new word that works.
That's so good. Nebulatic.
If I'd have said that with my chest, people would have gone.
You nearly did as well. You nearly went for it.
But I needed to have a conversation around this new word that I created.
Yeah, you created a nebulous. Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
I'm just going to Google that. Why are you talking? Nebulatic.
Yeah, I think you did one a bit earlier as well when you tried to say methodology or something. It was something like that. It was very good. It was very
good.
Anyway, sorry. Getting back on topic again. The summer recruitment for Spurs generally. Obviously, we've spoken about Solanke and 65 million. I just think that's what you pay for a number 9 that's scored that many goals in a window. I don't know why people are kind of saying that's this big inflated price.
No,
it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. If you had, say, Callum Wilson, or maybe that's not right. Let's just say if you had Solanke last year, he'd scored 19 goals for you, 6 assists. What would Newcastle demand if he's in contract?
Yeah,
about that. It's fair.
Yeah, about that.
So,
if not more, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how much would Isak be? Way more. And Isak's a better player, I would say.
Yeah.
But it would. No, I think at the moment it'd be way north of 80 for Isak.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So because of his age, he's bagging goals and he's in the contract. You have to pay north of what some people consider him.
What about some of the other signs? Archie Gray's come in and Bergvall as well, who had a bit of a shaky time, I thought, against Leicester, but obviously he's.
I don't know. I think the general consensus is that he had a good game.
But there was that moment, wasn't there, when Vicario was screaming at him? I think. At one point.
That was in the. So he gave the ball away.
He gave the ball away.
That's right.
At one point. Yeah.
I think so. I mean, look, he's. You can tell there's a plan at Spurs, and it isn't buying players that are absolutely ready-made. Like instead of going for Odegaard from Burnley, we perhaps should have gone for Neto, but the commitment through wages and transfer value is significant, right? But that's not to say that we shouldn't be doing that. There's a feeling amongst the Spurs fans that I've been reading on and speaking to, reading on Twitter as well, is that we should be buying players that are ready for now. But there's a lot of data-driven activity at Tottenham. They're looking at players that perhaps don't have the name, but definitely have the profile. Archie Gray played 44 times for Leeds last season in a number of positions. Yeah, I mean, I can't profess to have watched him extensively at Leeds, but that's what people are saying. So they are building for the future. Our squad is young now. And I don't know if you saw this thing, you probably wouldn't have done, but there's a picture of the squad, like starting 11 from January 2022. And you look at it and go, oh my God, we used to watch that. Like, that's no disrespect. Kane was in there, to be fair. But other than that, it was like a midfielder of Winks and Højbjerg.
Wow.
Davinson Sanchez at the back.
Wow.
Tanganga. And all these fine players, right?
Yeah,
they're okay, but what we've got now, you can see, is it's a sea change.
Yeah, completely different.
Yeah.
And they still drew 1-1 with Leicester. What about some potential outgoings? Richarlison.
Yeah,
I mean,
he won't be going.
Do you not think? Do you still think he'll be there when the window shuts?
He's refusing to leave.
Yeah.
Look, this is the thing, right? We demand loyalty of players that are good, right? If a player is suffering somewhat, the fans don't want loyalty from that. They want to go and, So, Richie, not sure if you're aware, there's been a bid from Saudi Arabia. Is there? Yes, 60 million euros. Right, okay. So you're gonna go to Saudi Arabia? No, I think I'll stay at Spurs. No, come on, go. And that's where we're at.
Is there any way back for him, or is the ship sailed now?
I think the ship.
Do you know what I mean? Though, is there any?
Yeah,
route
I do know. Look, I hope so. I hope I can. Look, there was a period last season where he scored 10 in 10 games.
Yeah, he had that little purple patch.
Yeah,
and everyone thought, here we go. This is finally Richarlison.
Then he gets injured again, and then he's out again. So you just can't rely on him, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong. His passion for playing for whatever club, Watford, Everton, and now Spurs and Brazil as well. He's passionate about football, and it's clear when he's not playing well, it does affect him. And he's spoken about like some of the issues that he's had with his mental health and whatnot. So because of all that, desperately want him to do well. But pragmatically looking at his situation, you bought Solanke, you have Son, we've got Lancashire, this kid, and who could cover. The 60 million would be really useful.